Westwood Studios, Bullfrog, Origin Systems, Maxis Emeryville, Visceral, Pandemic, Mythic, Ridgeline. That is not a list of beloved developers. That is a graveyard, and Electronic Arts dug every single hole. Since 2003, EA has closed, absorbed, or quietly dissolved more than a dozen studios. Some made the games that defined your childhood. One of them was sitting on the next Dead Space when the lights went out. And the most recent shutdown happened during one of the biggest franchise reboots in the company's history. So let's rank them, from the closures that stung to the ones fans genuinely still have not forgiven. We start in 2003, because that is where the bleeding begins. Westwood Studios. The team behind Command & Conquer, Red Alert, and Dune 2, the game that basically invented the modern real-time strategy genre. EA bought them in 1998 for a reported $122.5 million. 5 years later, in March 2003, EA folded Westwood into EA Los Angeles and let the Las Vegas studio close. Command & Conquer never recovered. The 2013 free-to-play reboot was canceled. The 2020 remastered collection was a love letter to a corpse. That is Shutdown number 1, and it set the pattern. Then comes Origin Systems. Richard Garriott's house, Ultima, Wing Commander, Ultima Online, the MMO that taught the industry how to run a persistent world. EA shut Origin down in 2004. Garriott had already walked. The Ultima series, one of the most important franchises in PC history, has been dormant for over 2 decades. Are you starting to see the shape of this? Because here's the part that hits early. EA did not just close small studios. They closed the studios that built the genres: Bullfrog Productions, Peter Molyneux's original outfit, Populous, Theme Hospital, Dungeon Keeper. EA acquired them in 1995. Molyneux left in 1997. And by 2001, Bullfrog was effectively gone, merged into EA UK. Theme Hospital sat untouched until a tiny British studio called 2 Point made a spiritual sequel in 2018. And it sold millions. EA had that gold mine. They closed the mine. Then 2007, Pandemic Studios and BioWare were bought together by EA for around $860 million. Pandemic made Mercenaries, Star Wars Battlefront, the original duology, the one fans still talk about like a religious text. By November 2009, EA shut Pandemic down and laid off around 200 people. The Battlefront license sat dormant until DICE rebooted it in 2015, and even that reboot is now considered a cautionary tale. If this ranking is hitting a nerve, subscribe, because we are only halfway through the body count, and the worst ones are still coming. 2008, EA closes Black Box, the Vancouver studio behind the Need for Speed games that actually mattered. Underground, Most Wanted, Carbon, Hot Pursuit. The street racing era of Need for Speed essentially died with Black Box's gradual wind down through 2013. Every Need for Speed since has been chasing that ghost. Then there is Mythic Entertainment, Dark Age of Camelot, Warhammer Online, a game that launched in 2008 with 800,000 subscribers and was supposed to dethrone World of Warcraft. EA rebranded Mythic, shuffled it, and finally shut the studio in 2014. Warhammer Online servers went dark that same year. A private fan server called Return of Reckoning has been keeping it alive ever since, which tells you everything about how much love EA left on the table. Now we climb the rankings, because the next 3 are the ones that broke people. Maxis Emeryville. The original Maxis, the home of The Sims, SimCity, Spore. EA shut the Emeryville office in March 2015, just months after the disastrous, always-online SimCity 2013 launch torched the franchise's reputation. The Sims survived because the Redwood Shores team carried it. But SimCity as a living series has not had a new entry since. Will Wright, the man who created it all, was long gone. Visceral Games, October 17, 2017. EA announces Visceral is closing. The studio that made Dead Space, one of the greatest survival horror trilogies ever, was at that moment building a single-player, story-driven Star Wars game codenamed Ragtag, led by Amy Hennig of Uncharted fame. EA killed it. Patrick Soderlund, then EA's executive vice president, said the game was being pivoted because, quote, player feedback shows that players want games that offer them more variety, agency, and ways to play. Translation, single-player linear games scared them. Hennig's project was scrapped. Roughly 80 people lost their jobs. Dead Space sat frozen until Motive's 2023 remake, and fans have never ever forgiven EA for what happened to Visceral. Pause on that one, because if you only remember one shutdown from this list, that is the one. Then there is the slow strangulation of the smaller names. EA Chicago closed in 2007, taking the Def Jam fighting games with it. Pogo, the casual games portal, gutted over years. EA Salt Lake, EA Phenomic in Germany, shuttered in 2013. EA Black Box's last embers extinguished the same year. EA Montreal heavily restructured, each one a team, each one a payroll, each one a Tuesday morning email that ended 100 careers. And then we get to right now, because EA is not done. In February 2024, EA confirmed it was closing Ridgeline Games, the Seattle studio founded only in 2021 by Marcus Leto, the co-creator of Halo. Ridgeline had been brought in specifically to work on the Battlefield reboot single-player campaign, the big swing meant to drag the franchise back to relevance after the catastrophic launch of Battlefield 2042 in 2021. Leto had already left in late 2023. Then EA pulled the plug on the studio itself. The Battlefield campaign reportedly got absorbed back into other EA teams. The reboot, now being coordinated across DICE, Criterion, Motive, and Ripple Effect, is shaping up to be one of the most expensive gambles in EA's recent history, and the studio specifically created to anchor its story got dissolved before the game even came out. That same wave of cuts in early 2024 saw EA lay off around 670 people, roughly 5% of its workforce, with CEO Andrew Wilson confirming the company was, in his words, sunsetting games and moving away from development of future licensed IP. That is corporate for, we are shrinking on purpose. So how do you rank a graveyard like this? By what you lost. At the top, by sheer cultural weight, you put Westwood. They built a genre. Right behind them, Visceral, because they were killed mid-masterpiece. Then Maxis Emeryville, because they made the games that taught a generation what a video game could even be about. Then Pandemic, because Battlefront. Then Origin, because Ultima. Then Bullfrog, Mythic, Black Box. The EA Chicagos and Phenomics and Salt Lakes. And finally Ridgeline, the newest name on the stone, still warm. What do they all have in common? They were bought, they were promised resources, they were given new logos and new bosses and new quarterly targets, and then, when the spreadsheet did not love them back, they were closed. Here's the open loop you carry out of this video. EA still owns dozens of dormant franchises: Dead Space, Command & Conquer, SimCity, Burnout, SSX, Skate, which is finally coming back. Any one of them could be the next revival. Any one of them could be the next casualty. And the studio's still inside EA right now. DICE, Respawn, BioWare, Motive, Criterion are all watching this history play out in real time, wondering which name gets carved next. Because in the EA graveyard, the headstones keep coming, and the franchises you loved are buried under every single one. If this is the kind of gaming deep dive you want more of, hit like and subscribe, because the next Shutdown is already being whispered about, and you are going to want to hear it first.